Armor King is my favorite fighting game character of all time, specifically Armor King 2, and it's going to be very important for this story. He's a character that's so popular that Namco made him DLC twice, and even though he hasn't been announced for the upcoming Season 2 for Tekken 8, it's highly likely he's going to come in at some point. He's a fan favorite. So out of all the characters in Tekken's history, what makes Armor King so popular? I'm going to explain why, and there's a multitude of reasons, but we're going to start with his story. So here's the short and sweet. The original King and Armor King started off as rivals, but then became friends and fought to raise money for an orphanage. Armor King developed a heart condition, and years later, King will be killed by Ogre, the god of fighting. After his death, one of the orphans from King's orphanage will become the new king in his honor, King 2. Armor King found out and took him under his wing. Now here's where we get to Armor King 2. So before the events of Tekken 4, Armor King is killed in a bar fight with none other than Craig Marduk, one of the worst characters Tekken has ever introduced, and we will get to that in a bit. King 2 challenges Marduk to a match during the tournament for revenge and ends up putting Marduk in the hospital. He then goes to the hospital to finish the job and kill Marduk, but he decides not to. Now to the general audience, King was the bigger person in the scenario, recognizing Marduk had just as much to lose as the first Armor King did, and he didn't take the finishing blow, killing Marduk in the hospital. The cycle of violence has to end somewhere, and King decided it ends here. Or so he thought. Big baby Marduk couldn't take the L in the tournament, so not only did he go to different martial arts dojos and just tear up the place, taking people down left and right, he did so wearing the original Armor King's mask. And look, real talk, I know some of y'all don't want Marduk in Tekken 8 because of how he played in Tekken 7, but like, on some real shit, Marduk is one of the worst characters morally in Tekken's history. Like, there's really not much coming close to it. Forget his mix, forget the frame data, forget how fast you gotta break his throws. Marduk is just a disrespectful bastard in general. Marduk gets his rematch with King, he loses again, they squash the beef, everything's all hunky-dory now. Marduk makes a new friend with no real consequences to his actions, but little do they know, his consequences are coming. Because right after that match, Marduk gets attacked by Armor King 2, who is revealed to be the younger brother of the original Armor King. Now like I said, King took the high road in this situation. He did what he thought was necessary to avoid further conflict, and like most protagonists in revenge stories, he got praised for it. However, from Armor King 2's perspective, King is a hoe. Because you mean to tell me this man Marduk taunted you in my dead brother's mask, never formally apologized, and dug up the grave just to make sure he was still there? When I first heard that Marduk killed Armor King in the bar fight, I thought it was like Marduk got drunk and like stepped on Armor King's shoe or something, and they just got into it on some one-on-one type shit, you know? That is not the case. Marduk got into a 30-man bar fight, and Armor King was the one trying to break it up. Armor King died as a peacemaker. So all that peace and love that Armor King had in his heart, the same heart that we thought was gonna take him out, is now just rage and confusion in his brothers. And not only do you see Armor King's rage in his story, but you see it in his gameplay too. From a casual perspective, you can just feel the rage in some of his moves. He's kind of like the original Miguel, who I can also do a video on in the future. Like and subscribe if you're interested. But he's kind of like Miguel in the sense of, even though Armor King is a wrestler, he comes off way more of a brawler than anything else. But while Miguel's more of a street brawler, Armor King is like a brawler with more refined tactics, but still just sees nothing but red if you make him mad enough. Competitively, I've heard him described as like baby's first Mishima, just because of the wave dash and uppercut. You'll hear JDCR talk about how Armor King struggles to apply pressure, but he has really good whiff punishers. Because outside of his grab mix-ups that he has just like King that would give him an edge, he's a pretty fundamentally sound character. He also just has one of the best designs in Tekken's history. Like, do y'all see this shit right here? Look at the fur. Who is rocking the fur like him? If you hear someone say that they hate Armor King, that just means they never played with his Player 2 outfit on Lightning Storm in Tekken 6. Look at that boy glistening. But on a serious note, Armor King's story is so compelling to me because unlike the Mishimas who are, dropping each other out of helicopters, into volcanoes, and even the Williams sisters, their beef turned up to 11, that whole sibling rivalry that they have where they're using helicopters and rocket launchers. The wrestler's story is just like the most grounded, and it could honestly just happen to anybody. Because at the end of the day, the original Armor King was more than just a wrestler, He was a person under the mask who did all he could to help the kids and go through life. He made mistakes, but we all have. He just went out one day expecting nothing to happen, just a usual day, and was killed by a man who just couldn't handle his liquor. And that right there is typically the backstory you hear of every drunk driving incident in real life. Because Marduk didn't have some ancient deity controlling his actions, and he wasn't corrupted by a devil. He was just another drunk who didn't care for anyone else's life. And you could say his punishment was King sending him to the hospital, but Armor King 2 doesn't give a fuck. Armor King 2 is the embodiment of eye for an eye. He needs Marduk off of this earth. And that's the exact same way others may feel when one of their loved ones is taken, especially so unjustly. Armor King's revenge plot, it just makes too much sense because it's so relatable. If you stuck around this long, I appreciate you for watching. Like I said, I kind of want to do one on Miguel as well, as he also has a similar revenge story that just makes too much sense to not talk about. What do you guys think about the wrestler's plotline in Tekken? Do you think it gets overshadowed by the Mishima saga? Is there anything that you want to see come out of this story? But let me know what you guys think, and I'll see about doing another one of these.